Saturday, 5 games. Players out. And a bunch of terrible, terrible names for streaming. But they're going to have value because they're going to play minutes. So let's talk about them. Michael Bolton, are you one of those terrible names?
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed. Yes, I know.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd and I am the world's foremost NL De Los Santos enjoyer. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com and you can find me on Twitter as always at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball and on Blue Sky, joshloyd.bsky.social. Get across to Blue Sky. I do believe that I will end up reducing how much I post on Twitter. What else do I need to say? Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Start the season with a big return on FanDuel and get $150 with bonus or in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Go to FanDuel.com to get started. Also, hit the double bang, hit the thumb, leave your comments, and go check out LockedOnDaily.com newsletters about your favorite team. Sorry for signing up for the Pelicans newsletter. I've obviously cursed them. I thought this is an interesting team. Can't wait to hear all about them from Jake and from Locked On Pelicans and from all the other Pelican sources. And they're a smaller media market. I want to get all that information through there. But no, of course, every single player for them is injured and it's just been a depressing read. But it's still great because Jake is awesome at what he does as well as all the other sources that he pulls in on that newsletter. We're here to talk about Saturday. Early game, 3 p.m. game in Charlotte. So be aware of that. And then there's a very late game as well. So it's a very spread out day, which is not a bad thing. We seem to be getting these early games Saturday and Sunday every week now, so just always be aware of that in terms of lineups and how your league is set. Do you have to lock in the lineup early? Can you lock it in when players play their game, or their first game? That's depending on your settings, and you need to check that out to see exactly how it works for your particular individual league. With only 5 games on, we are in a really interesting streaming day, and there are a lot of players out, as you know. That's okay. That just means that opportunities open up. One door closes, another one opens. Unfortunately, the people walking through the door are Taurean Prince and Gary Trent, but that's okay. That's okay, because for one-game situations, we can use it. This sort of stuff and these schedules, this is part of the reason why I am, and you know that I'm going to push this, and I'm going to push it. It's hard because the old grandparents of the fantasy basketball hosting industry, ESPN and Yahoo, don't allow you to do this. But, you know, they don't allow you to do anything good in fantasy, so why would I care? I do, because you guys play there. But my format that I have, I won't say invented, but I have. It sounds wanky, but games cap per position with unlimited ads per week. I don't like the idea of I get hit with injuries and I've got to add 3 guys at the start of the week. And at the end of the week, I can't get someone to stash. I can't add someone to stream because now I've lost another player because I used 3 ads during the week. Right? I hate that idea that in fantasy you can just brute force your way to victories by streaming 7, 8 more games than your opponent. I didn't like that. That's why I changed the format and invented this new one. Because in a situation like this, if you've used your ads, you go, why would I want to use one ad on a one-day stream of Taurean Prince, right, for example, because his name's going to come up a lot. Well, in this idea where there are unlimited ads per week, but a maximum games you can play, if you're down on games, you do that, and you try that, and you get these, and this helps, I believe, really significantly to alleviate some of the problems when players get injured, is that you can stream in as many guys as you want, and then we have a max of games that we can hit. So there's no advantage, disadvantage, but it doesn't hamstring you. If you cop all those injuries, you can just bulk stream guys in if needed to get those games back up. That is why, again, I believe that format is absolutely the GOAT, and I think it's going to grow more in popularity. I hope. Fingers crossed. Not for my own selfish purposes, but because I just think it's better for the game. Let's talk about the games. Let's talk about the 5 of them. The first one up, as I've already mentioned, is that game that features my men Gary Trent and the artist formerly known as Taurean Prince. It's the Bucks going down to Buzz City to take on the Charlotte Hornets. Oh, I did something from Buzz City once. Wasn't for me, though. No spreads out for any of these games at this point. The Bucks is their last game of the weekend on Saturday. Next week, they go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. And then the Hornets. Old CLT, they play the weekend back-to-back, one of 3 teams that play the weekend back-to-back, and then they have 3 games next week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I was talking about the weirdness of the schedule yesterday, and someone commented, I think it's because you have the NBA Cup, and like, is it? It might be, but like, it's unbelievably insane if they do it. The fact that they have created these stupid schedules where teams have 5 days off in a row around the NBA Cup, just so we can wedge more back-to-backs in during the season, again, is insane. The fact that they increased the number of back-to-backs this season is absolutely crazy. The fact that nobody in this league office understands the way that basketball quality drops, injuries rise when you compress a schedule, it's mind-blowing to me. Who am I watching on the Bucks? Well, actually, no. Who's out for the Bucks? Because that's more important. Khris Middleton. Are we ever going to see his face again? No way. No, we're not. We're not going to see him. Maybe. Who knows? He's on the list with Kawhi Leonard, Chris Jericho style. Not to say that I would never draft them again, because that I don't like to have the idea. Kawhi's on my list that I will never draft him anywhere near close to what you think you will, and Embiid's on the list, and I've talked about that already. And Zion is actually on that list now as well. Repeated injuries to the same exact part of the body is what turns me off someone. Middleton is on a different list. That's the Kawhi list of like the organization lies out of their ass regarding his injuries. Because this is, I think, 3 years in a row of the lying about Khris Middleton. Now, will that change if Glenn Rivers gets appled? I don't know. But they continue to lie about this. Oh, he's fine. What do you mean? Just to clean up. He'll be ready opening night. The opening of December? Is that what we're talking about? Anyway, Damian Lillard is out, officially. After that concussion, again, Doc, master of lying. One of the best liars out there. A generational liar. Doc Rivers is in many different facets. It's just absolutely generational. He's like, oh, look, it's fine. The concussion's nothing. I'll give you okay. Sure, no worries. Ryan Rollins. And remember, always remember, players lie. Injuries. Remember that. Ryan Rollins, shoulder instability. No, I'm fine, man. I'll play next game. Sorry, he's missing the next 2. That's great. He's doubtful for this one, Ryan Rollins. Bobby Portis, also doubtful with an elbow contusion. Also, Rollins is officially out, and so is Lillard. They've been actually ruled out now. And the other one there is AJ Green, who's got a shoulder issue. So, Lillard, out. His replacement, Rollins, out. Green, who was starting, doubtful, but close to out. Bobby Portis, who's Brook Lopez's backup, doubtful, so out. It's a lot of players out. And I haven't even got to Charlotte yet because BDNR is out, Nick Richards. And I said it was a shoulder the other day. Originally, it was described as a shoulder. It's a rib cartilage fracture, I believe. So he's out weeks. Speaking of lying, or actually, no, Mark Williams out. It's frustrating with Mark Williams. It's frustrating that we don't get a real timeline on it. The injury reporting is 300% better in Charlotte this season. Doesn't mean it's great. And they're still not giving us an exact sort of time frame. And that's annoying. And this is frustrating with Williams. This is a different injury to last season, very clearly, but another consistent problem. I'm not worried about the injury he had in his first year. It was like a broken thumb, I think. Who cares? That happens, and you can't do anything about it. This is a foot issue, and if he gets multiple foot issues, but big man, foot and back, what a horrid combination that is. So yeah, like I will be grabbing Mark as soon as he returns. But yeah, look, the faith is draining there. So they're both out. Daquan Jeffries is out. Miles Bridges, I don't know why I wrote doubtful. He's actually out. He's out. So don't ignore that part. And Trey Mann is questionable or missed the last game with a was it a back or an illness for Trey? He's had a couple of those issues. The last time out, he's a low back soreness. So I'm labeling him questionable. I know this is a long intro to this game. I'm watching Brook Lopez because he popped off the last 2 games when Lopez and Portis isn't there, so he's probably going to play big minutes, and I'm expecting this might be the absolute midst of a Brook Lopez sell high. So he's going to do some big stuff. And in the Charlotte side of thing, I want to watch Brandon Miller. Assists have been up for Miller. Efficiency's been a bit all over the place. I'd love to know if you drafted Brandon Miller, and I think he was going in the 50s in a lot of drafts, and I was somewhat skeptical of him being able to do everything that people thought he was going to do based on the fact that a lot of what he did last season was when a million players were out. Have you been disappointed with him? I would think yes, but I'd just like to know where it sits, and I just want to see how he sort of slides in, and I think he does firmly establish as the number 2 here. But I want to see a bit more efficiency. In terms of streams, it's got to be Dylan Wright. Like, he might score 0 points, like quite literally, and have 6 rebounds, 8 assists, 3 steals. He might do that, and that's enough. That's one of those guys. And there's nobody. There's no Lillard. There's no Rollins. Pat Connaughton, he's not a real point guard. Stanley Yamude, he's not a point guard. Wright's going to play 30 plus. He did last game, back on the menu. And then for the Hornets, Grant Williams is a great stream if he's available, but Moussa Diabate, double-digit rebound legend. That's 3 in a row for him. He's got double digits. He also got 3 blocks in 2 of the last 3 games. Obviously, Bridges, Richards, Williams all out means that he is getting minutes. He's not a long-term guy at all. But for now, absolutely, we look at Moussa Diabate, as I just talked for way too long on that game. But you know what? This is what I do, right? I go, it's only 5 games. We're going to be good. Yeah, we'll be able to fly through this. And I go, 5 games, that means I can talk. And you know what? Let's really hear the sound of that voice, Josh. We really want to get that going. Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks that are usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 per month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. Now, despite wasting all of your time, we still have 4 games to go. The Raptors and the Celtics. I'm not sure I'm going to have as much to say about this one because there weren't as many weird sort of injury reporting stuff going on. This is a back-to-back for Toronto. They're playing on Friday. Schedule-wise, both of these teams end the week on Saturday. Toronto goes Monday, Thursday, Sunday next week, and Boston is Tuesday, Friday, Sunday. Bruce Brown is out. Kelly Olynyk is out. Scotty Barnes is out. And Emmanuel Quickley is out. Again, Jacoby Walter is out. Kristaps Porzingis is out. Jaden Springer is questionable, but I can't imagine that matters for anyone in any league. And Al Horford missed the last game due to a toe issue. He was resting, so he'll be fine and he'll be returning. On the Celtics, we actually saw a good Drew Holiday game. We saw really good defensive stats. We saw the offensive. Most of it was offensive, but his offensive production. It's funny that same word, side note, that same word can mean 2 different things. Hey, you're on the offensive. Hey, even now, that's the other word. That's offensive. You're on the offensive. They mean different things. Hey, look how good he's been offensively. English. Sick. Anyway, Drew Holiday, really rough start to the season. Don't think he's a 12-team points must roster. Categories, you probably do, but yeah, it's been iffy. He's old. He's going to rest. He's going to be taking it easy. But it is good to see those defensive stats come back. Stream guys in Toronto. Ochai Agbaji is probably rostered in too many leagues, but he's the guy. The next one is Davion Mitchell. And I think you're going to see an array of these players. And this also might just lean us into more of this, hey, punt points, not a bad strategy, yes? It can be a good strategy. It leads you... Part of the problem with punt points, sidebar, is that with such low volume on your team, it leads you increased exposure to percentage variability. Because each time a player misses a shot, it has a large impact on your team's overall field goal or free throw percentage. So that can be the risk with punting points, is that you don't have volume to stabilize. Anyway, irrespective, this Davion Mitchell might do a DeLon Wright. He might have 0 points, 11 assists, and 3 steals. He might have 6 points with 2 threes. He's a bad shooter, a bad offensive player, but assists and steals are going to be his thing, and he's going to play big minutes. And if you know deep league, it's Jamal Shed that you go with there. And on the Celtics, it's Neemias Queta. Now, last game, it wasn't good. He started in place of Horford. Cornette played more minutes. But if you look at his game log, Queta, he's played, I think, 5 straight 20-plus minute games. They are using the Pastel Donata over Cornette and over Tillman. There is no guarantee they do that again, by the way. There's no guarantee. But all we have to go on is patterns. Sneaky Joe Mazzulla could change at any point. But we saw Cornette be 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 27 minutes, and then I expect he goes back to 5, with Queta being the backup, which is a 8 and 6 with a block and 70% shooting possibility, which is okay with only 5 games on as a stream player. The next game, Lakers and Pelicans. This is one of the longer injury lists I've seen, largely because of the Pelicans, but the Lakers aren't immune to that as well. What we're also seeing is that across the league, maybe, I know Milwaukee lost a lot of guards, but there is just so many teams with all the centers out. Charlotte, obviously Oklahoma City. Pelicans never had centers to begin with, and the Lakers as well. Both these teams are on a back-to-back. They both finish their weekend Saturday, and then both teams play 3 games in week 5. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday for the Lakers, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday for the Pels. So who's out? This is what I mean by the centers. Vanderbilt had a setback with his knee, by the way. Another 4 to 5 weeks. Surely nobody's rostering him. We're all good there. Christian Wood, the crucifix, is out. Jared Vanderbilt Bar is out. Not really sure when he's returning. And Jackson Hayes is out for a week or so with an ankle sprain. Jalen Hood-Schifino is out for Friday. I'm going to list him doubtful because even if he's healthy, he's not going to play. And then the other one is Rui Hachimura, who remains questionable for Friday. Now, if Rui is out, less applicable on Friday, but more applicable on Saturday, then yeah, I would stream Dalton Connect in that one because he's going to get more minutes. And if he gets more minutes, he'll get more shots. Now, he doesn't do anything apart from score, really, but just getting more minutes gives you something. Anthony Davis is probable for Friday. I'll just stick him here as probable because I love chucking him on an injury report, but I don't think there's any real risk of anything going on there. And for the Pelicans, it's the same stuff. Zion's out, CJ's out, DeJounte is out, Herb is out, Jordan Hawkins is out, and Jose Alvarado is out. Who are we streaming in on the Lakers side of things? It's probably Reddish. Last game, he only played 22 minutes because Dalton Connect got super hot, so they ran him for 30 minutes. D'Angelo Russell continues to suck, and they'll start Reddish. Reddish's value, though, comes from maybe 6 points, pun points, but getting you 2 steals and 4 rebounds and 2 assists and just sort of being out there and lucking into something. If he plays 22 minutes, it's not very good. As for the D-Lo question, which I'm sure you'll have, I am holding very reluctantly, and I have made my point relatively clear on this multiple times, and I'll do it again, is that I don't believe that he's good, very clearly. And I try to keep my opinion in one bucket and my presumed team's opinion in another bucket. Sometimes I'll lean towards me, sometimes I don't. It is easier to lean towards my opinion because I know what my opinion is. If I'm talking about the team's opinion, I don't. I'm guessing. I'm trying to put it together. I don't always get that right. That's harder to do. Shout out to Chris Duarte. But with D'Lo, it's been so many times that this organization and different coaches have just benched him and said, no. Now, he can fight back. He can be better. He could be traded. So I am giving an extra long leash here because it has burnt in the past, which is a bad way to approach fantasy generally. But that is how I'm doing it with D'Lo. I'm telling you my foible in this so you understand your decision, but I will hold reluctantly and stubbornly. On the Pelicans, bloody, what do we do, man? Yves Missi, yeah, but he's rostered in a lot of spots. He's got low upside, but solid enough floor. Javonte Green started last game. Green, last season, go look at his per-game numbers. Top 100 fantasy player per game. Yeah? This season, 300th, I think. He's been useless. He can improve. He's a better steals guy and a better field goal guy than we've seen so far. And he is going to start. Whether it's good enough, I doubt it, but you don't have any other options. It's him, it's Jeremiah Robinson. This is all also under the assumption. And yeah, I keep adjusting my percentage cutoffs for things because it's important to do. Because BJ Boston sits at, I think, 39% on Yahoo. But according to Basketball Monster on our advanced metric, he's 99% rostered. So while I'm still using 45% as a Yahoo cutoff, if you're rostered basically in every league from every user on Basketball Monster, I'm going to suggest that for most of you, you're not getting BJ. You also might not be able to add Brandon Boston, but if you are, you go and do that. Is that the end of that game? That is the end of that game. Let's talk about Spurs and Mavs. Saying Spurs, that sounds like I'm talking about the Premier League. Go Spurs. Go Ange. What are we talking about here? Schedule. Spurs on Saturday, and then Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and the Mavs have the back-to-back Saturday, Sunday, and they go Tuesday, Friday, Sunday. So who's out? Trey Jones is out, I'm guessing. Jones is out on Friday. I don't expect that he plays on Saturday. I should have put the asterisk there, but I'm guessing he's out. Jeremy Sohan's out. We know that one. Dante Exum is out. And then the Mavericks guys, I don't know. Kyrie Irving missed the game on Thursday. It is a back-to-back here. It's a shoulder. Kyrie has notoriously not been the quickest of healers. I would think that, I'm not going to list Kyrie as doubtful, but I would say that he is closer to doubtful than he is closer to probable. As you're well aware, maybe you're not. So, lesson time. We've got the time. Josh, I don't actually have the time, but let's do it. The official designation of injury statuses. Questionable means 50-50. Probable means 75% chance to play. Doubtful means 25% chance to play. In reality, I believe the questionable tag is 45% play. Probable tag is 93 or 95% play. And doubtful is 10% play. So, probable means you're playing. Doubtful means you're out. not a 25% chance either way. This is what it means. Questionable, it's about a 45% chance of playing. So it's almost a true 50-50. So if I say, and I did this last year, I probably should start doing it now, where I would put, if you're unaware, again, if you're watching on YouTube, when I put an asterisk next to a status, it means I'm guessing the status. I don't know the status. But in last year, what I started to do was put instead of questionable asterisk, I'd put QD. So on the doubtful side of questionable. Or I'd put PQ on the probable side of questionable. And if I had to do it here, and I'm not, I would do QD on Kyrie, thinking it's probably more, maybe it's like a traditional doubtful 25% chance, 30% chance of playing, not the actual doubtful, which is like a 7%, 8% chance of playing. As for PJ Washington, I think he actually is a true questionable. He's been doubtful for many games in the past. They said he's doing work and he's practicing at the moment. So I think that he is a true 50-50. If I had to guess, maybe I'd say he's marginally towards out and then ready to play Sunday is my guess on PJ. Or he plays Saturday, sits Sunday. But he feels closer to a true questionable. Of course, by the time I finish recording this show, we might actually get an update on it and find out that it's different. And by the way, we also just got an update from the Bucks that AJ Green went from doubtful to probable. So what the hell? What happened there? What is that? Why'd that happen? I don't know. On to the Mavs, or onto this game. The Spurs are back-to-back, but Dallas, there's a lot to watch because Daniel Gafford got benched and Derek Lively started. And you look at Lively's minutes and go, that doesn't really matter that much. Well, he had 5 fouls in 10 minutes yesterday. He ended up with 18 minutes played or 17 minutes played, was really dominant down the stretch, and that is unbelievably encouraging. If Daniel Gafford plays 18 minutes a night, that is very borderline as a whole. Now, I wouldn't drop him after one game of 18 minutes, but if a pattern is we get 28 Lively, 18 Gafford, and then a bit of Washington Kleber thrown in, then we might jack Gafford. In points leagues, that would be a much quicker jack for Dan than it would be in categories.
Get that garbage out of here.
In terms of the other things that we saw in that game is we saw Maxi Kleber start at the 4, but he played backup minutes while Najee Marshall got the starters minutes coming off the bench, and Quentin Grimes was the guy that replaced Kyrie, and that's 2 good games in a row from Grimes, and you know that I'm a Grimes truther, and you know that Grimes has been on my list of players that if he got a chance to start somewhere, he'd be really good. Now, he doesn't have a chance to start here unless there are injuries, but there might be. So he would be, especially with the weekend back-to-back, Grimes would be an intriguing stream. Who else will be streaming here? Julian Champagny, old Buble for the Spurs. Him, Keldon Johnson, Stephon Castle. Their minutes are a little bit all over the place, but Johnson is the guy that's losing out, so I'm okay with streaming Champagny. And then Najee Marshall was great last game. We actually featured him I featured him, and maybe you listened to it, when talked about the shooting percentages and who's been way up and way down. And I said, Najee Marshall, he's not a great shooter, but man, he's shooting 15% from 3. This is going to change. And about an hour later, he came out and had a really good game. And those flips don't always happen like that, but it did in this case. So Najee, as long as PJ is out, is absolutely worth streaming in, especially given the way this schedule looks for the old Dallas Mavericks. Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Get ready to tackle all of the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now you can bet $150 as a new customer and can't bet $150. I mean, you can. That's up to you. But you can get $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything that you need to place live bets on the NFL. It's all in one place. Gone are the days when you'd have an iPad. Gone are the days when you'd have what was it called? Like a BlackBerry Sidekick or something. What's that one? And you have all your different live play-by-plays in there. You're not like Kelly Rowland texting through on Excel on your other device and then have to switch that across to get the play-by-play data. It's all in one place on FanDuel when you place those live bets on the NFL. So when you get that hunch, it's all there right for you. So go to FanDuel.com, join today and get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Go to FanDuel.com, never waste a hunch, and make every moment more with FanDuel. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. All right, we have made it to the final game of the day, and that is the Jazz Kings. Utah going to Sacramento. This is a back-to-back for the Kings. Schedule-wise, that is incorrect there on Sacramento's schedule. My bad, I should have updated that. The Jazz do Saturday, Sunday. The Kings don't do Saturday, Sunday. My bad. That is not... am I just imagining something? Or maybe I am imagining something. Sorry, this is just bad podcast. Now, the Kings do not go Saturday, Sunday. The Kings play Friday, Saturday. And then next week, Sacramento, just double checking that one. Yeah, their week is very weird next week. They have Monday and Friday. No, that's wrong as well. Monday, Friday, and sorry about this. Monday, Friday, and Sunday next week. Yeah, so they only play... So it was right for the Kings. Monday, Friday, Sunday with just the Saturday game for Sacramento. And then Utah's got the Saturday, Sunday into Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Who's out, who's in? I don't know about Walker Kessler. He's got hip bursitis. They said soreness at first. If I, again, and I will start to do this tomorrow, I hope. Not tomorrow, the day after. That Kessler's probably closer to the doubtful side than questionable. And Lauri Markkanen got smacked in the nose at the end of that game on Thursday. Didn't return. I think he's fine. So I'm going to label him probable. Devin Carter is out. Malik Monk is out. And DeMar DeRozan didn't practice. He's doubtful for Friday. With back tightness, I'd be very surprised if he played on Saturday, but I also don't know that. So I'm labeling him doubtful for now. On the Jazz, John Collins. This man is cooking at the moment. He's putting up huge numbers, and look, I was very clearly wrong on this. It is all about pattern recognition with a lot of this stuff and trying to figure out what a team is doing, and the pattern for John Collins was they are not using him. He is playing as a 21-minute a night backup. Starting power forward goes down. He plays backup center. He doesn't move into that spot. I went, okay, so they just are going to develop the kids and they're not going to use him. And we're going to see, okay, low minute John Collins and cool. And now he's playing 30 minutes a night. He's roasting people. Now I have seen some insane takes about John Collins, absolutely crazy takes about John Collins of late after these last couple of games. So to say that he is a sell high is 100% accurate. I have seen someone said, John Collins is the Jazz best player. He's better than Lauri Markkanen. No, he's not. He's not. He's putting up some really good numbers. He's playing really well. But no, he is absolutely not the Jazz's best player. He's not remotely close to that. I've seen other unbelievably wild takes. I saw someone said that someone should give up 2 first-round picks to get him. The Thunder should send Nikola Topic and 2 firsts to get John Collins. Excuse me? What are we talking about here? But that's how you know that there is a subsection, not you, but maybe you, that thinks John Collins is awesome. He's putting up really good numbers. They had deprioritized him about a week ago. And now, look at him. Thriving the big fella. And I don't know what happens. If Kessler returns and they push him back to 28 minutes and they like their power forward mix, then does Collins go back and play 22 again? Yeah, I think it's possible. Danny Ainge will rug pull this real quick if they start winning games. But we need to see what keeps going on with Johnny Collins here. And that brings me to the stream. I think that you have to add Kyle Filipowski. This is a get out ahead of it scenario. I've got no idea whether he holds us. What I do know is that, okay, here's what I know. Cody Williams, not good for fantasy. I know that. Not precluding he will become good in the future. Don't think he will. But that's not the point. He is not good now, and I don't see it changing in the immediate future. And the Jazz went, yeah, absolutely not. You're playing 15 minutes. Come off the bench, my guy. Lowry's going back to the 3, and Filipowski is starting. Filipowski, who I had as a lottery pick in this draft, who fell to the second round, which baffled me a lot. But this draft is very obviously very weird, and that's not to say that I'm right or wrong. But his fantasy stat set is amazing. Rebounds, scores, sort of shoots threes, passes, blocks shots, high field goal percentage, decent free throw. He had an unbelievably good fantasy profile. And I think we've seen it in these last few games. We've seen it. If he is the starter, playing 28 minutes a night, next to Walker Kessler, a guaranteed must-roster player, has to be rostered. And if he goes back and plays 22 minutes a night, oh well, drop him. This is I cannot stress. I'm going to put this man's face up on the front cover. It might not work. But Kyle Filipowski should be rostered everywhere. I don't know that it holds. You could make the argument that he is starting at center with Walker Kessler out and Collins is the 4. I would argue against that, considering Collins has played 0 minutes at the 4. That's not true, but barely played at the 4 at all. I think that they're playing Filipowski at the 4. And they'll continue to play him when Kessler is back. But I also don't know. But I don't care. I'm happy to get out ahead of it and then move on later on if they then start Collins and Kessler together and move Filipowski back to 21 minutes. I am adamant that we do this with Filipowski. And then for the Kings, Keon Ellis. Look, Kevin Huerter, yes. Keon Ellis, yes. Both really strong streams. No Monk and likely no DeRozan also. That's the 5 games. It took a long time. But I hope that you appreciate A, some side notes, B, explanations, and C, maybe information, maybe humor. I don't know. We'll see. Let's talk about back-to-backs, 3 teams on the weekend, Charlotte, Dallas, Utah. We've talked about Dallas and Utah all week about their schedule, and let's throw the old CLT merchants in there as well. And these are some names that play across that weekend back-to-back. They're a 10-game Sunday, so it's a borderline stream day, but you can figure that out for yourself. I'm not going to tell you what your roster looks like because I don't know, and frankly, I don't have the time to investigate every one of your rosters. Grant Williams, Moussa Diabate, Kyle Filipowski, Cody Martin, Najee Marshall, Josh Green. All these guys are available in a lot of different spots. Remember, we are adding Kyle Filipowski. Grant Williams would be my second option there as a longer-term stream. But yeah, Filipowski, I think Grant and Moussa will be better across the weekend because I'm just unsure of Filipowski. But he's the guy long-term. Maybe. Well, he's the guy that I want to take that chance on. And then, like, Cody Martin's nothing, Josh Green's nothing, but you're getting 2 games out of them and you might get 50, 55 minutes out of them, and it is hard to get 55 minutes out of a one-game player. In fact, some would say it's impossible. If we go chunky here, Saturday through to Wednesday, there's no day, there's only one double-digit game day, and that's 10-game Sunday. So we've got a nice 5-day stream run, meaning, like, you can take some advantage and you can stream every day if you want. You can use back-to-backs. But you can also just add one of these players here who play 3 games in the next 5 nights. And you'll notice there's Thunder players there. Aaron Wiggins, Lou Dort. These guys are available in spots. Isaiah Joe's on that list. Karis LeVert, who's been up and down, but 3 games in 5 nights is nice enough there. Chris Dunn is a guy that I just think should be rostered irrespective, but 3 games in 5 nights should push you over the edge. And then you got the Hornets and Grant Williams and even Moussa Diabate and those guys in that mix as well. And then this is something I pledged to do, and I don't know that I remember it every day, but I've remembered it here 2 days in a row. It's the anti-Gregorian section. We're not going by calendars, we're going by 7 days. So over the next week, not a fantasy matchup, a week matchup, but over the next 7 days. Miami has a 2-game week, so 2 games in 7 nights, and Minnesota has 2 games in the next 7 nights. So when you're streaming Duncan Robinson, Jaime Jaquez, Kevin Love, Haywood Highsmith, when you're streaming the old Creek himself, Dawson, Jaden McDaniels, when you're considering what are you doing with DiVincenzo and Reed, you're holding them, but like they're 2 games, Mike Conley, 2 games in 7 nights, Mike Conley, easy, Jack, get rid of him, see you later. 2 games in 7 nights for Minnesota over that time frame. Now we get to the streams of the day. Is Jaden McDaniels going to be featured? That's the big question. He's not, because Minnesota don't play on Saturday, so we don't have to talk about Dawson in that sense. The 10-team stream of the day is DeLon Wright. And you'll notice nearly all of these guys are just very, very available everywhere because there are opportunities that open up. Maybe it's one day, I don't know. DeLon Wright, your 10-teamer, your 12-teamer, Keon Ellis. Your 14-teamer is the artist formerly known as Taurean Prince and the artist currently known as Darvin Ham's favorite. The 16-team streamer is the Pastel Danata Nemeas Keita, and then your Yahoo Points and ESPN Points streamer is Taurean Prince at the moment. I just noticed that my 10-team stream list did not appear. Let's have a look. Nope, can't see it. That's right. I'll read you through my 10-team stream list, which has adjusted slightly because when I first created it, AJ Green was doubtful, and now AJ Green is probable, which reduces the impact of some of the Bucks players. So I'm going to have Keon Ellis, Nemeas Keita, DeLon Wright on that list, Davion Mitchell on that list, Taurean Prince, and where are you? Moussa Diabate, and probably Kyle Filipowski onto that list as well, as things have just changed around a little bit. Yeah, so that's the list. And then a 12-team list, I've got Diabate on this one as well. Julian Champagny, Javonte Green, Gary Trent, who loses a little bit of value there with old mate Green available. And you can slot AJ Green into this 12-team stream list as well. Cody Martin and Slam and Sammy Hauser. And then for deeper leagues, I go to Jalen Noel in New Orleans, Jeremiah Robinson-Earl in New Orleans, Trey Lyles, Harrison Barnes, Cam Reddish, and Josh Green. For your Yahoo point streaming, we're going to Taurean Prince, Nemeas Keita, Kevin Huerter, DeLon Wright, Moussa Diabate, Keon Ellis, throw Kyle Filipowski's name in there for good measure as well. And lastly, we go across to ESPN. and their points league streaming. Torian Prince, Kevin Herter, Namesh Keita, Delon Wright, Keon Ellis, Al Horford is available still in leagues. And again, let's once again talk about Kyle Filipowski. Apologies if this gets caught through transcripts and Google searches that I've been talking about Kyle Filipowski too much. Didn't mean to. It's okay. I'm not doing anything strange. It's okay. You can have him. Don't forget, though, what you want to do, though, here is go ahead and subscribe and double bang and thumb and leave your comments down below. Guys, we are done here. Finally. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.